Yo, what is going on, everybody? Caveman Jack back for another album reaction / review. We are back live from the studio. Yo. It's been a long time since I last checked out my last Arctic Monkeys album, Humbug. And I think it's time we dive into these last two albums. We've gone on a bit of a journey since the release of The Car. Was my first Arctic Monkeys record. Loved it. Enjoyed the soundscapes. The strings. It was beautiful. Based on a lot of the comments and feedback I received, it was then decided I was going to make my way back through their discography from The Car backwards to their debut. Now, we've gone through many different sounds. We've experienced Tranquility Bass. Then we saw that commercial rockier sound they went for on AM, which has some of their biggest pop numbers, or the biggest commercial rock numbers, really. Then we dove back into Suck It and See and Humbug, which was a very stark contrast to what we see on The Car and Tranquility Bass. Definitely those elements there for sure, but very different sounds. We're now into their sophomore project, Favourite, Worst, Nightmare. Tight runtime, 38 minutes or so. Heard a lot of great things about this record. Super keen to dive into it, so let's not dilly-dally any further. This is Favourite, Worst, Nightmare by Arctic Monkeys. Alright, off the bat. Really heavy already.
Someone to kiss, someone to kick you. There's nothing that you couldn't slip through. Or at least that's the impression I get. Cause you're smooth and you're wet and she's not aware yet, but she's yours. She'll be saying use me, show me the jacuzzi. I imagine that it's there on a plate. You're a rendezvous rate, means that you'll never be frightened to make them wait for a while. I doubt it's your style not to get what you set out to acquire. The eyes are on fire, you are the unforecasted storm. Come collected and commanding, you leave the other story standing. With your additions and jokes, bet there's hundreds of blokes that have wept cause you've stolen their thunder. Are you putting us under? Cause we can't take our eyes off the t-shirts and ties combination. Well, see you later, innovator.
Off the bat, energy is high. A track like Brainstorm, in contrast to Body Paint, for example, from The Car, such different sounds. And I love to see that there's such a huge progression from Arctic Monkeys, the way that they've adapted their sound. I'm keen to hear their rocky origins here on their first two records. And that one already kind of gave me a little bit more of that tightness that I was looking for on Humbug. Humbug felt a bit messy at times. In terms of the soundscapes, a lot of the tracks didn't grab me as much as records I've listened to from the band. Hearing this first song felt tighter, wasn't a long track, but just had that intensity and a good amount of instrumentation to keep me engaged. Alex Turner, he's always going to put on that performance and have a bit of fun, but it's important that the sounds around him really amplify the message and his tone, and I thought Brainstorm was a great start. So much more assertive and punchy on this record than I've heard them.
The sped up to the point where they provoke. The punchline before they have told the joke. Plenty of desperation to be seen, staring at the television screen. That is the 1000th time that it's even bolder. Don't be surprised when you get bent over. They told you, but you were dying for it. So they had to grab it and it wasn't what it seemed. The kids all dream of making it, whatever.
Steady Picker continues on from the energy that Brainstorm had to start the album. Intensity, tightness, feels complete, these tracks. Got a good feeling to this album so far. It just feels like they're a little bit more in focus than Humbug. Nice diversity in the progression to keep me engaged. It's kind of like an indie rock sound. Indie rock feels like, it's not too heavy, but it's just got those tinges of heaviness while staying in that kind of indie alternative rock sound. Bass guitar as well sounded great on that track. You can already tell this album just seemed to flow from song to song really nicely. Track from track to track. Very punchy, moving pretty quickly for this album. That track wasn't that long either, but assertive, tight, alt-rock. British alt-rock is really coming through so far on this record.
Running off over next door's garden before the hour is done. It's more a question of feeling than it is a question of fun. The confidence is the balaclava, I'm sure you'll baffle them good. With the ending reek of salty cheeks and runny makeup alone. Oh, we'll blood run down the face of a boy bewildered and scorned. When you find yourself in a skirmish, will you wish you'd never been born? From a burning building or throwing her to the sharks. Can only hope that the ending is as pleasurable as the start. The confidence is the balaclava, I'm sure you baffle them straight. And it's wrong, 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 she can hardly wait. That's right, he won't let her out his sight. Now the shaggers perform and the daggers are drawn. Who's the crooks in this crime?
Bass guitar once again, man.
You knew that it'd be trouble right before the very first kiss. Quiet and unassuming, but you heard that they were the naughtiest. She pleaded with you to take it off, but you resisted and for. I'm sorry, sweetheart, I'd much rather keep on the balaclava.
Good groove to this track, man. Quite a consistent tone and sound on this project. Like a kind of classic indie alt rock feel.
You used to get it in your fishnets, now you only get it in your night dress. Discarded all the naughty nights for niceness, landed in a very common crisis. Everything's in order in a black hole, nothing seems to pity is the past though. A bloody memory's like an El Tabasco. Remember when you used to be a rascal? Oh, the boys are slag. The best you ever had, the best you ever had is just a memory. Flicking through a little book of sex tips. Remember when the bars were all electric? And now when she told she's gonna get it, I'm guessing that she'd rather just forget it. Clinging to not getting sentimental. Said she wasn't going but she went still. Like a gentleman had to be gentle. Was it a mechadabra or a betting pencil? Blow. Took a left off last life lane, just sounding it out, but you're not coming back again. Falling about.
I like the hi-hat action on this track as well.
You were just sounding it out, but you're not coming back again.
That one felt like a very classic Arctic Monkeys track, while still feeling consistent with the tone of this project so far. As I was listening, I was like, yeah, this feels like very classic Arctic Monkeys. Alex's delivery, the way he flowed on it, the instrumentation, it was a little bit lighter than the stuff we've heard so far on this track. Something we could have probably seen on a Suck It and See, potentially a bit of AM as well. It was good though. It was really good. I think that one for me felt a little bit more familiar with the sounds I'm used to or have kind of progressed backwards to. Fun track. Alex sounded good. Bass guitar was good again. And the hi-hat kind of created that kind of lightness. Give me a ballad, Joe. Give me a ballad. Give me a ballad, man. Very nice.
In a foreign place, the saving grace was the feeling that it was a heart that he was stealing. Oh, he was ready to impress, and the fierce excitement, the eyes are bright, he couldn't wait to get away. And I bet that Juliet was just the icing on the cake. Make no mistake, no. And I bet she told a million people that she'd stay in touch, but all the little promises that don't mean much when there's memories to be made. And I hope you're holding hands by New Year's Eve. Well, I'm sure you could have made it that bit better on your own. You're the only ones who know.
Only Ones Who Know just brought the tone down, give us a little breather, a beautiful Arctic Monkeys kind of bridge, interlude of sorts to just help you gather your thoughts. Really nice. I like that. It didn't feel too jarring. Fluorescent Adolescent, which is a tongue tie, kind of gave us a little bit of a lighter tone. So it wasn't like such a dark tone going into, Only Ones Who Know. Like it felt like a little bit more of a seamless, nice transition. Still was a different tone, don't get me wrong, but just a little bit more subtle than just having like Brainstorm going into that. I just love the kind of strumming of the electric. Sounded great. Great through the headphones. Really great track. And a really nice change of pace. Just slightly. I imagine this next track will go back into what we've been hearing, but it was nice. Very surfy. That guitar.
Well, the morning was complete. shoes were untied and the eyes were all red. You could see that we'd cried, and I watched and I waited till she was inside, forcing a smile and waving goodbye. Curiosity becomes a
Again, man, that bass guitar, yeah.
too heavy to hold, too heavy to hold. Do me a favor and ask if you need some help. She said, do me a favor and stop flattering yourself. And to tear apart the ties that bind. Perhaps fuck off might be too kind. Perhaps fuck off might be too kind.
I like how that song was a lot slower and kind of built as the song progressed. We got the kind of more slower, moodier sounds, and then by the end of the song, last third was thrashier. Intensity was risen. Kind of felt like only ones who know transition into this track was a little bit more smoother that way. By starting with the moodier sounds, it kind of flows a bit easier and then kind of builds back up to that thrashier sound. For me, my favorite Arctic Monkeys sounds are the more string-based ones, the more ballad-like ones. You know, I won't lie about that. But it's really nice to hear their origins here, hear where a lot of people discovered them and fell in love with them. There are certain elements of these sounds that I really love, and I can see cater to their later works. This album live would be so good, be so much fun as well, hearing these different tracks flow from each song to song.
This house is a circus, berserk as fuck. We tend to see that as a perk, though look what it's done to your friends. Their memories are pretend, and the last thing that they want is for the feeling to end. We're forever unfulfilled, and can't think why. Like a search for murder clues in dead men's eyes.
Well, I like that layout, that's good.
Wriggling around in incidents you will forget. There's certainly some venom in the looks that you collect. Aimlessly gazing at the faces in the kiln, and we're struggling with the notion that it's life, not film.
Let's transition, roll into this next track.
If you were there, beware the serpent soul pinchers. 350, no thank yous, and nobody flinches.
I've loved how they've utilized the bass guitar on this album.
And you had enough, what you're trying to dig up isn't there to be dug. The thieves help the thugs as they're trying to beat the good grace of a sweetheart out to the point she'll comply.
Yeah, it does like it does feel like early Arctic Monkeys. I will say that, like, it feels like kind of like, I mean, it feels like that kind of early indie rock sound that we kind of heard with kind of like snippets from Catfish and the Bottlemen, Vampire Weekend, two bands that I do want to check out at some point on the channel. But the snippets have heard from those bands, it kind of gives me this kind of vibe. Some of those sounds, Strokes kind of introduced with "Is This It?" Arctic Monkeys kind of created their own vibe within the subgenre as well. I mean, even like, I'm hearing like a band that's more recent, Ocean Alley. That song kind of gave me Ocean Alley vibes. So you can see how some of these bands, I love seeing how bands influence other bands, and kind of that kind of collaborative effort over time to contribute to music will then flow on to future artists and influences, and it's a nice thing, if it's not a straight copy, and that's a different story, but hearing influences and inspirations is another story.
Somebody's girlfriend's talking to me, but it's alright, she's saying that he's not gonna slap me or try to attack me. He's not the jealous type, and I only need to get half an excuse and I'm away. But when there's no excuses, that's much easier to say. And then the first time it occurred that there was something to destroy, I knew before the invitation that there was this boy, but she carried on suggesting a struggle to refuse. She said it's the red wine this time, but that is no excuse.
That was a fun one. Kind of gave me corner store vibes, just the kind of story of it, and kind of how like he is being pursued, or he's having conversations with people that are already in relationships, and just kind of the excuses and stuff like that. Very much felt like corner store. Just that kind of playful vibe that he kind of went for on it. That's obviously not a playful topic, infidelity is definitely not a playful topic, but the way he went about it kind of made it come across that way, a little bit more of a light-hearted view on it.
Old yellow bricks loves the risk, quite a little escapologist. Looks so miffed when you wish for 1,000 places better than this. Who wants to sleep in a city that never wakes up, blinded by nostalgia? Who wants to sleep in a city that never wakes up? She was enraged by the way that the emperors were trapped in the cage.
All right, yo, last track on the album, 505. Kind of organ feel.
I'm going back to 505. If it's a 7-hour flight or a 45-minute drive, in my imagination you're waiting, lying on your side, with your hands between your thighs. Stop and wait a sec. When you look at me like that, my darling, what did you expect? Not shy of a spark.
guitars on this track. Hear that bass just kind of keeping that foundation, and then just the electric. Kick drum as well. And with the clicking of the sticks. Best song on the album. It's the best song on the album. Best song on the album. In my imagination, you waited lying on your side with your arms between your thighs and a smile. That is an incredible outro track. A phenomenal song, Man, they saved the best till last. That was the best song on the album, I think, by a lot. The album had some bangers, a lot of bangers. But that is a hit. That is a hit. Easily slide that into one of my favorite Arctic Monkey songs I've heard. Really captured the tone and sound of this project, but kind of catered to what feels like, I don't know, a more, not commercial, but it's a more wide stream appeal of that song. I feel like a lot more people could fall into that one a little bit easier. It's not as heavy, even though it is deceptively heavy towards the end of the song. It's still melodic enough, that you can feel like most people could fall into that one a little bit easier than something like maybe Brainstorm or Teddy Picker, which are a little bit more kind of assertive in the vocal performance. Loved how he built that aggression throughout that song, and the instrumentation backed him. It just slowly, progressively built with his voice. Favorite Worst Nightmare feels like a band that is focused, laser focused. It's a really good sophomore project. I'm keen to hear their debut, go back to that first one and see where the kind of ties are and how this one built upon their debut. Tight project, which I really value. I'm not going to lie. The ballad string-like sounds that Arctic Monkeys produced on their later tracks are much more my style. As I'm listening to heavier stuff on the channel and exploring the genre of heavier rock, this is not heavy rock. It's not. But it's that alt rock, that indie rock that is so popular. And during this generation, this time frame, the Strokes, Arctic Monkeys, Catfish and the Bottlemen, Vampire Weekend, they capitalized on this sound. They built upon it so much. So there's so much to learn about this genre of rock, this alt rock feeling. And Favorite Worst Nightmare, I think, is a really good dive, a really good point for me to learn a little bit more about that. There were songs that hit me more than others, but I can't lie. The album's tone is consistent, and you feel that throughout the project. It doesn't feel like it overstays its welcome. And I think for a first-time listener, it helps to have the tracks not too long. For this kind of sound, it worked for me. It's been a crazy ride going through this discography. We've got one last project to go. Thank you guys for joining me. If you're from my other Arctic Monkeys videos, thank you for sticking around and keeping patient with me. I know it's been a long time since Humbug. Have a fantastic week. I will link the Arctic Monkeys playlist in the bio. So if you are interested and want to see more, hit the subscribe button or click on that link. Join the community. We'll listen to a wide range of music on the channel. That was Favorite Worst Nightmare with the incredible song 505, which I needed to just give another wrap up to. My name is Caveman Jack. Take care, and I will see y'all in the next video. Cheers.